Thank you very much. The clerk will please call the roll.
Ms. Green? Mr. Riddick? Here. Mr. Smeagol? Here. Dr. Whibley? Here. Ms. Williams? Mr. Wynn? Here. Mr. Frame?
Here. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for being here. Welcome to this public hearing. Before we begin, we just have a few rules, if you will. We have about, first of all, we have about, I don't know, 40, maybe 50 speakers here. We're not going to call you in any specific order. Somebody's got to be called first. Somebody's got to go last. And I'm sorry about that, but, you know, we're just going to try to work through the list. We've tried to group them according to topic, and we'll do our best to move the public hearing along. When I call your name, if you'll come to the podium here, we're keeping a record of everything that's being said. So in order to do that, you need to identify yourself for the record by giving us your full name, please, and then give us your present home address. And then we would like you to limit your remarks to 3 minutes. And you will hear a buzzer that goes off. If you're in the middle of your sentence, you can finish. But since we have so many speakers, we would like you, please, at the end of 3 minutes, if you would step away from the podium. I'll try to urge you if you're taking too long, but out of respect for everybody who wants to speak, I would ask you to do that. What I'll do, I'll begin by I'll call one name and then I'll call a second. The first name that I call will please come to the podium. The second name will come right down here, if you will, or come close to the front row right here, so you'll be ready to move up to the podium when I call your name the second time. So if I call Jane Doe and Jack Smith, Jane Doe will come to the podium, Jack Smith will come down here, have a seat, and then I'll call Jack Smith and, you know, John Doe or something for the second one. And that way we'll try to move this thing along. Let me also say this, you know, we really want to have a good public hearing, and that includes, you have to play a role in this. Everyone who gets to speak here, and that's anyone who wants, needs to be treated with respect. If you agree with them, that's fine. If you don't agree, we don't expect any comments to be made. And if we can keep the volume in here down, you know, as low as we can, then everybody can hear what everybody says, and everybody will be treated equally, please. So we'd hope that you would adhere to that. So what we'll do is we'll begin. Then the first speaker is Dr. Kirk. Did you hear that? The light is shining in the speakers. Do we need that in order for the video? Okay, I don't understand all of this, but I'm told that all the lights are on the same system, and we're also going to, you know, broadcast this as well on the city channel. And in order to light the podium, that's a necessity. I'm sorry. You know, but we'll try to do better next time. I promise you that. Okay. And there's some other seats maybe you can get out of the light. Okay. Okay. So the first speaker will be Dr. Kirk Houston, and Dr. Houston will be followed by Dr. Samuel King, please.
Good evening. Mayor Frame, members of council, and city manager, Mr. Jones, thank you for the opportunity to speak to you regarding funding for our schools. I would ask that the other members of the school board who are present to please stand and be recognized. Thank you very much. My fellow school board members, the superintendent and I appreciate your willingness to invest in creating together a world-class school division that will ensure that all of our students are provided a high-quality education that will enable them to be powerful contributors to our society, compete globally, and make the city of Norfolk an even greater and attractive city to live, work, and thrive. We appreciate the increases that you have made in former years and the plans to build 5 new schools. The Norfolk Public Schools Governance Leadership Team, which includes our superintendent and school board, firmly believes that we are on the right path toward our desired outcome. As you know, in July 2013, the board adopted a strategic plan that was the product of a year's worth of work with our community to identify our community beliefs, our strategic objectives, and our action steps for achieving our objectives over the next 5 years. As a component of the strategic plan, the school division also engaged in an 8-month facilities planning study led by a community steering committee to determine how to use our facilities and programming wisely and efficiently and in the best interest of our children. The board and superintendent have begun planning for the implementation of that study's recommendations, particularly through the Norfolk Public Schools Transformation Initiative, which will involve an exciting transformation at many of our schools and provide new educational opportunities for children across Norfolk. This proposal is designed to support our strategic planning efforts to attract families who are looking for high-quality programs for their children. The board, the superintendent, and the scores of community members who have assisted in our strategic planning and facility study processes have put a tremendous amount of research and thought into the strategic priorities for Norfolk Public Schools. Mr. Mayor, you and our city council members have continuously asked us to communicate to you our school division's true needs in order to become the cornerstone of this proudly diverse community. Our budget request for the 2015-2016 year was made with those strategic priorities and needs firmly in place. The school board's proposed budget reflects our priorities and the resources that we need and that are essential to our continued progress. Early learning, an essential component to student achievement.
You can keep going, Dr. King. That's fine. Dr. Houston.
Professional development to ensure that our staff members are highly effective. Instructional technology and technology infrastructure needs. Open campus, which will greatly enhance our graduation rate. And salaries, increased salaries for our employees. And I would add here that our teachers and all of our employees both need and deserve a pay increase so that we may retain and continue to attract highly effective teachers and other staff members. The governance team has painstakingly analyzed and determined our needs for success, and our budget reflects that analysis. We're striving to be good stewards of all of our resources, and in this current economic climate, we know we know all of the challenges to meeting our strategic priorities is enormous. But we ask tonight, we plead with you that you would fully fund the budget that we have presented and proposed to you. We also realize that that money is not the answer to all of our challenges, but more resources are greatly needed in order for us to fulfill the strategic plan and to continue the progress that we have begun to make this year. And I'm confident that education is a great priority on the City Council's agenda, and that we will be well pleased with your response to our request and proposal. Thank you for allowing me this time to share.
Thank you, Dr. Houston. Dr. King, please, followed by Shirley Confino-Reeder.
Good evening, Mayor Frame, members of City Council, City Manager, and members of the community. Thank you for providing me and our school board this time to address you regarding funding for Norfolk Public Schools. I am grateful that we have had multiple opportunities to discuss with you our school division's needs as we draw toward the end of the year, first year of implementation of our 5-year strategic plan. Of course, this plan was developed through a 5-year process development in terms of working with hundreds of community volunteers to develop our mission and vision for public education in the city of Norfolk. As part of that process, we also work with our community to come to agreement about our core beliefs, our mission, our vision, individualized public education programs that are essential to maximizing the potential of our students and supporting citizens, and as we support our students as lifelong learners. Our beliefs also focus upon the fact that excellent public education Excellent public education and excellent public education systems are cornerstones of economic development, health, vitality, and all of the above for this community. With those beliefs as our guide, the Norfolk Public School Governance Leadership Team, consisting of the school board and superintendent, has centered all of the school division's critical work around the 5-year strategic plan. In the process of developing an operating budget for 2014-15, all expenditures and resources, as well as our needs, were evaluated in terms of whether they aligned with that plan and advanced that strategic plan. Although it is true that Norfolk Public Schools enrollment has declined by 5% over the last 6 years approximately, it is also true that our operating revenues and expenditures have decreased over the same period of time. In the process of developing our operating budget for fiscal year 2015, for example, we reduced our base operating costs by nearly $10 million, and we are continuing to evaluate our programs for efficiency and effectiveness in terms of their results for children. Meanwhile, our challenges have increased exponentially. The percentage of students who qualify for free and reduced lunch price meals, an indicator of economic disadvantage, has increased by double digits in recent years. State mandates across multiple domains, including student achievement benchmarks and requirements for technology and online testing, continue to increase. In order to meet both of our challenges and enormous promise of our strategic plan, the governance leadership team has requested additional support from the city. We appreciate our city's leadership for consistently asking us to reflect our real needs, and our budget request does that. The proposed operating budget for Norfolk Public Schools addresses multiple areas of critical need in order to advance our strategic plan. We must continue to attract and retain highly qualified and highly effective teachers and staff in competition with other local divisions across our area. Highly effective teachers and staff are essential to increasing student achievement across our division. Therefore, a salary increase for our staff, our teachers, and entire staff, a salary increase is urgent. We must increase the percentage of students meeting and exceeding state standards, which also relates to the number of schools that are accredited by the state. Highly trained teachers and school principals are a key to that effort. In our proposed operating budget, we have included funding for staff development targeted at specific areas of instructional need. Another important area for us is increasing the percentage of students who graduate on time with a high school diploma. We added an additional request for an open campus academy, which should begin to address critical needs and critical problems as it relates to high school graduation and chronic concerns at the high school level for students that are behind on credits at a severe level. Our budget request also addresses the ongoing need for technology infrastructure. We remain behind the curve in that area, and we must continue to address that issue. The governance leadership team is committed to continuing to evaluate all expenditures to ensure that they all align with the strategic plan and to ensure that we remain wise and watchful stewards of public resources for the benefits of children. We respectfully request that our city leaders consider full funding of the school board's budget request so that we may continue to forge a strategic path for Norfolk Public Schools. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Dr. King. Thank you. Shirley Confino Reeder, followed by Cynthia Creed, please.
Honorable Mayor, City Council, City Manager, everyone else. I'm Shirley Confino, the Reeder, the Chair of the Mayor's Commission for Persons with Disabilities. The purpose of the Mayor's Commission for Persons with Disabilities is to assist persons with disabilities in achieving more independent and full lives through promoting awareness of their needs to agencies and organizations, and to provide a focal point for input from the disabled community into the city's decision-making process. This commission is an advisory to the Director of the Department of Human Services. We have been in force since June 27th, 1978. In February 2011, the City of Norfolk created citywide priorities, listing first accessibility, mobility, and connectivity. In 2015, the proposed budget advanced this priority to safe, healthy, and inclusive communities. Our aim is to provide guidance to the mayor and city council to help create a city that is welcoming to all, more specifically to those who wish to age in place, persons with disabilities, and wounded warriors. Our aim is to also prevent exposure to litigation. We will have speakers to address issues tonight that require your attention, including sidewalks and curb cuts, traffic signals, communication so important for emergency planning, and bathrooms. We plead with you to listen. Make allowances in your 2015 budget, a budget that will bring our city closer to the full compliance with the Americans with Disabilities Act, and then to set aside an ongoing budget item that will bring us into the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Cynthia Creed, followed by Helen Brown.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Honorable Council, and Mr. Jones. I'm going to talk about sidewalks.
And you have to give us your name and your address, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. Cindy Creed, 201 Lucille Avenue in Interesting Riverview in Norfolk. Sidewalks form the backbone of the pedestrian transportation network, and sidewalks reduce the incidence of pedestrian collisions, injuries, and deaths in residential areas along two-way roadways. Without sidewalks, public rights-of-way are inaccessible to all pedestrians, including people with disabilities. When sidewalks are not available, pedestrians are forced to share the street with motorists. Access to public transportation is restricted, and children may not have a safe way to access play areas. When construction, uneven, cracked, or non-maintained sidewalks impede travel on pedestrian routes, it causes problems for the average walker to travel safely to get to their destination. For people using assistive devices, wheelchairs, walkers, canes, for people who are blind or have low vision, traveling on these sidewalks can prove dangerous or even impossible. All persons should be provided with a reasonably safe, convenient, and accessible path through the limits of all work zones to the maximum extent feasible. If not feasible, an accessible pedestrian route should be provided. Detectable warning devices during construction are needed that everyone can understand. Temporary cones cannot be placed on curb cuts. There are guidelines that are published but ignored with regard to this. According to the 2015 budget, the city has about 1,225 miles of curbs and sidewalks, many of which are in need of repair. We ask that you make a suitable allowance in the 2015 budget to repair sidewalks, and that training is given to the contractors before any construction starts so that they may be safely negotiated. In the fiscal year 2014 year-to-date cost report made at last month's HRT Commission meeting, the costs for the two types of transportation provided are $5.12 per rider on the bus and $27.64 per rider on paratransit. You can see which one is cheaper. Riding the bus is cheaper and safely possible when the rider can reach the bus stop on sidewalks and curb cuts in good repair. Many times they are eligible for paratransit only because they can't get from their house to the bus stop. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Cynthia. Helen Brown, followed by Marilyn Copeland.
Good evening, Mayor Frame, members of City Council. My name is Helen Nelson Brown. I live at 901 Colonial Avenue in Norfolk, Virginia. As a member of the Mayor's Commission for Persons with Disabilities and the HRT Advisory Committee for Persons with Disability, I am here tonight to request your support in allocating funds for the completion of 4,483 plus curb ramps. Mr. Richard Broad, Assistant in the Public Works Department, states that the city has made a total of 6,471 ADA-approved ramps. This number does not include the ramps that were done years ago and are in need of repair. A curb ramp is a short cutting in the curb that provides an accessible route for persons using a wheelchair, scooter, walker, or other assistive device to ambulate the streets of Norfolk. Without the ramp, persons who use any assistive device to travel are unable to travel safely in our city. Often they are forced to travel the public streets. We have all seen these people and ask why. No person should be forced to travel our community alongside cars and other vehicles in the street. Ramps create easier and safer access to schools, libraries, city services, religious institutions, public transportation, shopping, and places of employment. Ramps provide independence for these people. Ramps enable people to use city buses or the Tide instead of using paratransit. This will save HRT money. Ramps enable more people to get to their jobs. These people will be employed and help to bring more of a tax base to the city of Norfolk. Over the past 22 years since ADA was passed, there has been neglect by the city to fulfill its obligations to provide curb ramps. The cost of the ramps is a necessary addition to your city budget. We must include all citizens in their ability to navigate the streets of Norfolk, including the aging baby boomers, those who are with excessive devices, and our wounded warriors. Our streets must be accessible to all of our citizens and visitors. We plead with you to address this need for more curb ramps. Add the needed funds to accomplish this project in your 2015 budget and add additional funding to replenish curb cuts in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Marilyn Copeland, followed by Corinda Rusenyak. Hope I got that right. I'm sorry.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Marilyn Copeland. I live at 9720 8th View Street, and I'll be addressing the issue of audio signals. Installing audio signals will enable a person who is blind or who has low vision make the street crossing more safely. People who are blind use many techniques to cross streets. Besides trying to determine the alignment of the intersection so they can orient themselves, locate the push button for the signals if they are available, they have to know when the walk interval begins. We ask you to imagine what it would be like to cross a street wearing blindfolds. Accessible pedestrian signals and pedestrian push buttons communicates information about the walk and don't walk signals at signalized intersections in a non-visual formats such as audible tones and vibrotactile services, so pedestrians who are blind or who have low vision will have assistance for safer travel. We ask that through thorough research should be conducted to identify the use and benefits of audio signals for installation at heavily trafficked areas throughout the city, such as at MacArthur Mall in Monticello, and again at City Hall Avenue where the Tide travels along, EVMS at the intersection where the Tide ends, Old Dominion University where one exists but is not enough, Ward's Corner, Tidewater Drive near Southern Shopping Center, and Waterside Drive where Nautilus is located. We have to encourage all pedestrians to use our cities to the most advantage. We therefore have an obligation to make sure that it's safe to cross the street to reach their destination safely. We ask that you include in your 2015 budget retrofitting of our existing pedestrian signals with audio signals and include the expertise from the Department for the Blind and Visually Impaired in Richmond. It addresses safety for everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Marilyn. Corinna Rusenyak. Did I get that? I'm sorry if I got that wrong. I can hear you, but you need to turn the handheld mic on. It's okay. Try it again.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Okay. My name's Corinda Rusenyak. I live at 815 Pecan Point Road in Norfolk, Virginia. No other device has such a daily impact on virtually every citizen as does the common, ever-present traffic signal. Pedestrians and drivers place their physical safety on that of their passengers confidently in the signal's ability to give them the right of way. Sufficient timing of safely crossing the street is necessary for everyone, including persons using assistive technologies. Traffic control devices should be accessible. Many controls are too high or on poles that are installed in large cement blocks or at inaccessible locations, making them impossible for the use of persons in wheelchairs. Adjustments have to be made that will allow the signals to be accessible to everyone. Currently, I live at the intersection of Raby Road and Virginia Beach Boulevard, and I have tried to cross that street before, trying to get to the 7-Eleven that's right there, and the crosswalk, the walking signal is literally 3 seconds, and I'm not exaggerating. There was no way that I could make it across the street, and that was the first time I'd crossed, so I wasn't aware that the signal was so short. So I could say personally that I've had trouble with it trying to navigate around. So we're just asking that that we can do something to make sure that the timing of our signal systems will give me and everyone else a safety margin that we should expect when crossing intersections in Norfolk, making sure that all of our traffic lights, that all of our traffic lights are accessible. This should be a part of the budget in maintaining a safer way to traverse the city for all citizens.
Thank you for
Thank
coming
you.
down. Thank you. Okay. Angela Hill, followed by Greg Puryear.
Good evening. My name is Angela P. Hill. My mailing address is P.O. Box 1263, Norfolk, Virginia 23501. I will be talking about persons with communication disabilities. Persons who have vision, hearing, or speech disabilities, also called communication disabilities, use different ways to communicate. For example, people who are blind, low vision may give and receive information audibly through Braille, large prints, CCTVs, etc. Persons who are culturally deaf may give and receive information through American Sign Language, while those who are hard of hearing or late deafened who wear hearing aids or cochlear implants may depend on assistive technologies in the form of captioning or assistive listening devices. Those with combined hearing and sight losses who are deafblind may use any of the before-mentioned accommodation to include tactile sign language. The ADA requires that Title II entities, local government, provide persons with communication disabilities appropriate accommodation when requested. Example of different auxiliary aids and services that may be used to provide effective accommodation for persons with communication disabilities include, but are not limited to, qualified interpreters, communication access real-time translation provider, which is what you see this lady right here doing, hearing aid compatible telephones, text telephones, Braille materials, and large print materials. It is important that the City of Norfolk has resources in place prior to someone requesting an auxiliary aid service. This can be done by identifying local resources for such services through an interpreter registry and CART provider directory, and then finding out how much advance notice is needed for such services. It is also important to know how to produce documents in Braille. In addition to having such resources, ongoing and continuing staff training for the city personnel is very important since they represent the city, providing customer services. This can be accomplished by contacting disability organizations in our area who stand ready to conduct ADA training, usually free of charge. We ask you to include a budget allowance in the 2015 budget to add these accommodations. Thank you.
Thank you. Greg Puryear, followed by Amy Woods.
My name is Greg Puryear. I reside at 8009 Galveston Boulevard. Mr. Mayor, members of council, city officials, tonight I will be addressing non-compliant city restrooms, specifically those at Norfolk City Hall. There are approximately 50 sets of male and female restrooms in city-owned buildings that do not meet 1991 ADA guidelines or the 2009 Virginia Construction Code. These buildings include recreation centers and libraries. Many cannot be made accessible to meet the codes because of age and the presence of structural issues, but most can be brought up to the most feasible as possible standard. Tonight, we choose to discuss Norfolk City Hall. City Hall currently has no 100% compliant restroom facilities. This is a building that has public interaction daily and holds public meetings, including city council meetings that are open to everyone, except citizens who cannot use the restrooms. According to a report received by the Norfolk's project manager and ADA officer, the strategy in City Hall would be to establish compliant restrooms on alternating floors. There are guidelines that are minimal standards, but they can offer alternatives to making existing bathrooms accessible. We are suggesting that 2 sets of male and female restrooms should be made accessible as a first project at City Hall. 1 set of restrooms would be on the 11th floor, where City Council meets with the public. The other on the 1st floor, where many citizens come to conduct business with the city. The inclusion of compliant restrooms would allow persons in wheelchairs requiring the larger specifications of restroom stalls to attend and take part in City Council meetings. We ask you to include a budget allowance in the 2015 budget to design and implement the restrooms on the 1st and 11th floors of City Hall, and set money aside to address the bathrooms at the other locations within an acceptable specified time frame. The Mayor's Commission for Persons with Disabilities has other issues of accessibility, including inaccessible bus stops and signage. But tonight, we have chosen sidewalks and curb cuts, traffic signals, restrooms, and communications as our major concerns to bring to you. Handouts of our presentation tonight have been prepared and made available for each one of you for your study. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Puryear. Thank you. Amy Woods, followed by Charlotta Williams.
Good evening and thank you. My name is Amy Woods. I live at 1201 Buckingham Avenue. I am an NPS parent and a member of Norfolk Gaines. It is budget time again, a time that you have spent countless hours taking a finite amount of money and parceling that money into the many tasks and services offered in our great city. Dozens of people will stand before you tonight asking you to reconsider your decisions and spend money in neighborhoods, libraries, downtown, the arts, etc. All of these are important and necessary parts of our city. But the most important economic stimulus and largest line item in the city budget is our schools. Businesses choose or don't choose Norfolk because of the reputation of our schools and the prospect of our educated workforce. Norfolk Gaines has stood before this council many times, asking you for financial support of our schools, for your support of changing the term lengths of our school board members, for your support in building new schools, and each time we have been able to work together. I ask all those who support Norfolk Public Schools to please stand. We stand before you again, asking you to make the tough decisions to support the hard work of our school board, the qualified school board that you have appointed. Our school board did not come to their budget quickly or frivolously. The money that they have requested is necessary to continue to improve the education of all of our children. Yes, this city has been very generous in providing level and increasing funding year after year for NPS. And $14 million is a significant request in a city budget that has seen dwindling state funds. However, the schools need this money to support the superintendent's transformation initiative and to retain and attract highly qualified teachers. The superintendent is making bold steps to improve the education of all of our children. But in order to move forward, the school board budget must be fully funded. Our school board has worked hard to present a budget that is essential to the success of every student in our district. Now you need to trust their hard work and their decisions, and please fully fund their request.
Thank you. Charlotta Williams, followed by Gloria Cowlins.
Good evening, Mayor
Good evening.
Frame, council members and guests. My name is Charlotta Williams, president of the Education Association of Norfolk, which is located 600 Church Street, number 57, Norfolk, Virginia. We are here once again to present our concerns on the Norfolk Public Schools budget. We want to continue to attract and retain the best and the brightest teachers here in Norfolk. However, in order for us to retain good employees, City Council needs to do more than provide for building new schools. We must maintain the facilities that are older and in poor shape. If we don't come together for our employees, we will lose not only our credibility, but it will be harder to work towards our mutual goal, which is a globally recognized school division. We are worth more than 2%. I am perplexed by the annual need to stand here to ask for raises for our employees. Yes, more money has been allocated to the division, but so has the demands of the citizens. We have technological needs, and training is necessary for all employees to meet these needs. Keep this in mind. Everyone in this room has been taught by a teacher, driven by a bus driver, served by a cafeteria and a custodial person. What is the vision of the Norfolk City Council for the public schools? This vision needs to be reflected in the final budget. As president of this organization, we must continue to strive for consistency with everything we do for our children in Norfolk. Thank you.
Thank you. Gloria Cowlins, followed by Myra Burton. Myra Burton. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Frame, Vice Mayor Williams, City Council members, City Manager Jones. I stand tonight as Membership Services Specialist with the Norfolk Federation of Teachers, 3620 Tidewater Drive. From an article from the pilot in April, it appears as if our teachers and support personnel are pedaling in the same boat as our firefighters and police officers. Raises, salaries have been stagnant for some time for police officers and firefighters, and so the same for teachers and support personnel. Step increases have not been in place for firefighters and police officers, and the same with our teachers and support personnel. We need to have a change. Things need to change. We have people who are willing to work, to give their all, to stand and be counted, and to support teaching and learning in our schools on a daily basis. Salaries need to increase. One of the differences, however, that I also noted in the pilot article is that our city manager, part of that change is a focus in the budget for this year to make some changes for city employees. However, it doesn't seem to be that same focus for our central office administrators in Norfolk Public Schools, nor our school board. So we are here again, once again, every year as usual, pleading to the council to help us reach the goal that we need so that teaching and learning can continue as it should in Norfolk Public Schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Myra Burton, followed by Brenda Kennedy.
Mayor and council members. I am Myra Burton. I reside at 690 Red Mill Road, Norfolk, Virginia. I'm here to support Norfolk Public School. I am a parent of a student in Norfolk Public School, and I am a first-year teacher at Norfolk Vocational Technical Center. My concern is first about the economic viability and workforce. As a parent, prior to coming to Virginia, I researched the schools and found that in 2008 that 50% of the middle school children in Virginia could not read, and that Norfolk Public Schools were below the average. So I found the best middle school for my child and determined that it would be Ruffner, Ghent, or Meadowbrook, known as the Academy of International Studies. She was not admitted to either of these schools and went to Lake Taylor Middle School. Coming from Columbia, Maryland, relocating to Norfolk was not my idea, but my husband had a job, and I decided to stay married on top of that. But I had already avoided moving here for 2 years because the schools in Maryland exceeded the state standards. Anyone who may consider coming here to Norfolk may not find that our city is desirable because of the schools lag behind both state and national averages. Industry may choose not to locate here because of the same reason. Our city is not desirable when the schools are lagging behind. We must have fully funded the Norfolk Public School budget. It is a need. The Vocational Technical Center is a great asset to this community. We support and train the workforce. For example, on April the 30th, the Practical Nurse Program graduated 18 students, compared to last year, 9 graduates. But this may never happen again because of budget cuts over the past few years and the unfunded needs of the school. Not only have we supported the workforce at Norfolk Technical Center, but it also shows the economic viability and community health care as well. My daughter will do well and has done well because of the dedicated teachers at Lake Taylor Middle School, the Academy of International Studies, and Booker T. Washington High School. But what about our safe environment? Have we already forgotten about the rats at Booker T? Will she be competitive in a global economy? Will she be competitive to be entered into Columbia University, Norfolk, NYU, or any other school that she desires? Our schools must be funded. It is imperative for our children.
Thank you. Brenda Kennedy, followed by Peggy Scott.
My name is Brenda Kennedy. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, good. Okay. My name is Brenda Kennedy. I live at 1144 Bedford Avenue. I live in Norfolk. I graduated at Granby High School many years ago. Somebody was teasing me recently, am I going to the 50th anniversary soon? And I will. But in any case, I want to remind you of this week. I'm 40 years retired as a teacher in Norfolk, and I'm a union rep. And I go out and help these young teachers and some of the old teachers, and can't help them all, but I try. And I need to let you know that this week was Teacher Appreciation Week. And as a student way past when, I'm sure you had a teacher somewhere that you thought, thank you, I remember. That teacher inspired me. Let me get it straight here. Norfolk hasn't been taking care of its teachers. You have beat up on them. You have left them out. You've underpaid them. You mistreat them. Morale is low. People are crying in the parking lot still, and I spoke about that quite a while back. They're still crying in the parking lot. They are being based and evaluated on things they have no control over. But yet, they still keep teaching. They still keep coming back. They still come out to be beat up. You should say thank you to at least one and maybe run an article. We haven't forgot you, even though you don't include us. You need to say thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Peggy Scott, followed by Ellis James.
Hello, my name is Peggy Scott. I'm a 68-year resident of Norfolk. I live at 8405 Frieden Street in Ward 5. I find it hard to believe that the day after the elections, which showed how much the voters are fed up by not bothering to show up to vote, that I have to stand here and beg my city council to once again do the right thing and fully support our aging, crumbling school system. To deny much-needed 2% raises to our teachers is just unbelievable. The mayor stated during his re-election campaign how important schools are as the local driver of our economy, and he was right. If you want the people that come here for jobs to drive home to Virginia Beach and have their children attend schools there, then continue spending the money for other projects instead of funding your schools. Now is the time to show the people of Norfolk that after all these years, you do care about educating the children by giving the $14 million that is not in your current budget, but was requested by your appointed school board. You brought in Dr. King to turn the schools around, which we know will take time, and now you want to tie his hands due to lack of properly funding the transformation that we all desire and need for our school system. Being the smart man that Dr. King is, if he is not supported by our council and given the tools necessary to make a difference in our schools, he will go to some other school system that will not try to hold him back. The headhunters are already circling to see what our city is going to do. We have a very unique urban city, and we cannot keep comparing what we spend per student with Virginia Beach. Virginia Beach has very few Title I schools, and all but 2 of our 35 elementary schools are Title I's, and there's $190 difference in the spending per student. Go to Virginia Beach, look at their schools. Come look at ours. The many pockets of poverty in our city was caused by our short-sighted forefathers who tried to keep certain people in their place by denying them home loans and keeping our city segregated. Those days must be put behind us. We must believe that all truly means all. If a child on the South Side or the Lindenwood-Jaycox area doesn't receive the same opportunities as the children in other parts of our city, then we will fail and we will suffer the consequences. Our highly qualified teachers are leaving for better paying jobs in the private sector or applying to other school districts. We ask more of them each year, but the salary doesn't match what we ask of them. It is past time that we adequately fund our schools. I ask that you visit our schools, not for just an hour here or there, but spend time in them. Get a good understanding and see what it takes to educate our children. Spend a whole day in an elementary classroom as a teacher. I promise that would make you find the necessary funding. Our school system has taken a back seat for too long. During the elections, all of you stated schools were your top priority. You are elected now, so it's time to deliver the promise and make schools a priority.
Thank you, Ellis. Ellis James, followed by Elizabeth Philpott.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. My name is Ellis W. James. I reside in the city of Norfolk and have done so all my life at 2021 Ken Lake Place. Mr. City Manager, you have just heard an explosion of emotion following Ms. Scott's discussion and presentation. I'd like to take this moment to fully endorse the comments and the concerns of the people supporting the school system. And I might add, I don't think it's too presumptuous of me to suggest that an election in our city yesterday was also a clear signal that people in this community support people who support the public schools. I would like to also endorse the statements of the people from the disability community, all of them. They made an eloquent appeal, and they should be listened to. There were concerns in there which affect their everyday life, and I hope each of you on this council remember life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. If you don't have a good job and a home to live in and a safe way to walk or ride in the community, you don't have full equality of life or full citizenship. The one last point I would like to make is, although this fine booklet, and Mr. Jones, this is not a dig at you, this nice slick booklet, environmental sustainability, is on page 34. And all of the various things that impact our daily lives here in the city of Norfolk are also tied to clean air, clean water, and the environment. And I hope that you will remember that as you move forward with the funding and the consideration of the budget. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you. Elizabeth Philpott, followed by Tanya Bazin, sorry. Okay. All right.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Liz Etheridge Philpott. I reside at 5406 Studley Avenue in Norfolk. I am a proud Norfolk Public Schools graduate, a former Norfolk Public Schools teacher, and a current Norfolk Public Schools parent, including a daughter graduating right here from Granby High School in June. I am here tonight as a member of Norfolk Gaines to speak to a line item in the NPS budget that has languished for too long. School facility maintenance needs your attention and your advocacy. The school board and NPS administration are in the process of forming a long-term facility improvement and maintenance plan. We at Gaines look forward to that plan, including an inventory of deferred maintenance in the district and a plan to eliminate it. The goal of the plan must be healthy and safe school environments, and it will require funding. Today marks the first day of the budget process for the fiscal year 2016, and I'd like to make the first request of the new cycle. Please increase funding for school facility maintenance. Increased funding for school maintenance has been an ongoing need for some years. The 2007 MGT Efficiency Study of Norfolk Public Schools noted that the division received 37% less than the national average at that time in funding for facility maintenance. If the 2015 city manager's proposed budget is approved, NPS will be receiving 12% less for operations and maintenance in 2015 than it did in 2009, despite ever-increasing needs from our aging infrastructure. This cycle must stop. Lack of maintenance is demoralizing to our students and staff. Moreover, it is unhealthy. Mold and mildew from leaks and inadequate ventilation from HVAC systems causes upper respiratory irritation and asthma flares. Lack of maintenance is also an unwise fiscal decision. Damage resulting from deferred maintenance compounds repair costs, as water leaks weaken and deteriorate structures. Damage is often to walls and floors containing regulated toxins such as asbestos, lead, and PCBs that require an even higher cost of repair that must be conducted by certified contractors and be tested by a contracted industrial hygiene firm. Lack of maintenance also causes a loss of vital instructional material and technology that is already stretched thin across the district. Funding is crucial to address these problems. I urge you to thoroughly analyze local funding sources and allocations to find additional existing revenue to commit to bringing our facilities up to a healthy and safe standard. I also urge you as a council to advocate our leaders in state government for additional sources of state funding. The infrastructure of public school facilities all across the Commonwealth is old and deteriorating. Over 60% of school buildings in Virginia are approaching or have exceeded 50 years of age, which is generally considered to be the useful life of a school. I'll just continue by saying, for the health and safety of our children, teachers, and staff, I thank you and I appreciate your attention to this problem.
Thank you. Thanks. Tanya Bazin, followed by Koshi Bazin. Okay.
Good evening, Mayor Frame, City Council members, and City Manager. My name is Tanya Kerperkar Basine. I live at 1912 North Brandon Avenue. I'm an MPS parent and a Norfolk Gaines member. I have also served on various councils and committees for MPS, including the 5-year District Strategic Planning Team. As you are well aware, Norfolk Public Schools has embarked on what could be a positive journey toward making it a world-class urban school system. They have developed a 5-year strategic plan and initiated the work set forth by that plan. Additionally, the school district is proposing to transform several schools in the system by establishing schools of choice and desirable thematic academic programming. These initiatives and programs aim to improve student outcomes for all students by improving opportunities to meet students' academic and emotional needs, providing safe and healthy 21st century learning environments, and reducing the concentration of poverty in our school buildings, which is a major contributor to adverse student outcomes. While these initiatives sound promising, the success of these programs is highly dependent on an improved workforce infrastructure, which has been significantly compromised in recent years, largely due to budget constraints. Funding must be provided to strengthen the infrastructure from the central administration level as it relates to departments responsible for planning and program development, as well as evaluation, down to the teachers, who are extremely critical in the effort to deliver high-quality academic programs. Quality programs are suffering or are a threat due to the limited workforce. Teachers are continually asked to do more with less and have often stated at school board meetings that their platters are full. Note that I did not say plate, they're platters. The impact this has had on our students is partly evident in our benchmark and SOL results, while the impact this has had on our teachers is evident in the low morale and difficulty MPS is having in its ability to attract and retain high quality and effective teachers. Furthermore, poor compensation and professional development support have exacerbated the situation and has resulted in many teachers leaving the school system to work in other districts or choose another career altogether. If limited resources are keeping MPS from meeting the needs of all students as it relates to the core curriculum put forth by the Virginia Standards of Learning, how is MPS supposed to effectively implement the Transformation Initiative and other reform strategies that are supported by the school board you have appointed and entrusted? In a recent article, Mr. Riddick was quoted as saying that MPS is woefully underfunded. This is true. While the council has provided level funding in recent years, it is not enough. You have asked the school board, what do you need? What they need is nearly $14 million to provide teachers the raises they so richly deserve, to further strengthen the infrastructure, and to implement important reform strategies so they can deliver high-quality education for all students. Make our public schools a priority. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right, Koshi. Koshi, you're next. Basine, no, okay. Followed by Thomas Calhoun.
Mayor Frame and City Council members, my name is Koshal Basine. I live at 1912 North Brandon Avenue. I'm a 4th grader at W.H. Taylor Elementary School. This year I had 3 different teachers in the beginning of the school year. The schools had trouble finding teachers, so the teachers we did have were getting pulled to work in other classrooms or schools. I like my teacher very much, and she is a good teacher, but I feel like she should have been there from day one. Having different teachers was confusing, and we had to get used to each teacher's style every time, and she had to get used to us. This took a lot of time. When I heard there were people coming to speak at this meeting to ask you for more money for our schools, I asked my mom, why do we even have to keep asking for them for more money? Don't they know that schools are the most important thing? She said that was a good question I should just ask you. So I'm here to ask you, why don't you give enough money to our schools? Don't you think a strong education is important for all kids? We are this city's future. We are this nation's future. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Thanks. Thank you. Thomas Calhoun, followed by Lawrence Brown.
Mayor Frame, City Council, good evening. I am Thomas Calhoun. I'm president of the Norfolk Federation of Teachers. I live at 5443 Willacre Road in Norfolk, Virginia. I believe I have a few members here. Could you stand for a second, please? Thank you. Once again, here we are, here to ask you for a raise, put in this position, as always, by the school board and administration. Because if we were not always on the tail end of their budgets, we would not have to keep coming on the tail end of $14, $8, $9 million. I feel like if we were a priority of this school board, we would be a line item in the level budget, and we wouldn't have to be standing here every year begging you for money, and you wouldn't be put in the position of being the good guy or the bad guy. I feel this is absolutely intentional by the school board and the administration, and we tired of coming here every year having to do the same thing. I'm sure you're tired of being put in this position every year having to do the same thing. Unfortunately, here we are again. So when I read in the paper, and we all here reading the paper, that policemen and firemen are getting a step increase, and we're like, whoa, I had 21 years. I think I'm on step 11. And what got me was it said your lowest paid city employees were going to get a living wage increase. What about the lowest paid school employees? Why? I honestly don't know, Mayor. What's the difference? What is different to policemen and firemen and teachers? Why are we not seen as important as they are? I don't understand this. They deserve everything they get and more. I mean, did you feel funny when they came out in the paper? I mean, did you notice we weren't there? I don't know what to say to these people. I'm running out of words. I've been here 3 years. I don't know what to say to them anymore. So here we are. We need you to help us. This school board will not put us in that level budget. We're not a priority of them. I told them we're no longer partners, and I meant it. We're not a priority of theirs. Personal matters for them, we're below their line. We've been told that we're below their line. They only care about capital improvement, and you have seen studies, one council grades to the schools, that told you they're too concerned about capital improvement, not enough about education. I'm sorry we got to come every year. I'm sorry we're here this year, but I need you to help my employees. I need you to give them the increase that the other employees are getting. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Lawrence Brown, followed by James Tarantino.
Good evening, Mayor Frame, City Council, City Manager Marcus Jones. My name is Lawrence Brown. I live at 925 Waltham Street, Norfolk, Virginia. I'm a 20-year veteran of the Norfolk Fire and Rescue and the current Senior Vice President of the Norfolk Professional Firefighters Local 68. This is unusual because I'm here tonight to actually thank council and the city manager for something and not complain about something. That'll come later, I promise you. I'm here tonight to thank City Manager Marcus Jones and his staff and the staff of Human Resources for the retirement option plan for public safety that's proposed in this year's budget. We have worked along with the police and fire for 15 years to get this program. We've worked hard with City Manager Jones to get this program adopted. Our men and women in both the police and fire and other public safety workers work hard to serve this city and its citizens. We look forward to serving the citizens of this city. Again, I'm here on this plan to just thank you for your hard work, Marcus Jones, and your staff for working with us to get this program and this milestone adopted. Thank you.
Thank you, LP. Thank you. Okay, James Tarantino.
Alrighty. Good evening, everybody. City leaders. It's the first time I've had a chance. Can anybody hear me back there?
Yes.
All right. My name is James Tarantino. I'm the current elected president of Local 68, Norfolk Professional Firefighters. I reside at 1142 Little Bay. Hopefully no one eggs my house tonight, but I'd like to thank you for your time. I'm going to keep this real brief. I would like to, all of us, get a chance to work together and try to establish some of the budget priorities throughout the year. Again, the drop program is great. Most people are quite happy with it, but we would like to be able to kind of guide the process and assist you with what we need to do to accomplish our goals. So we want a seat at the table. I do appreciate the RCs, but the unions do represent a larger majority of the membership of the, I would say, the workforce. So thank you, and have a great night.
Thanks, James. Thank you. Arthur Eason. Mr. Eason. Sorry, I didn't call you early. Followed by Tom Luckman.
Mayor, City Council, City Manager, thank you all for giving me the opportunity to come here and speak this evening. I'm speaking on behalf of the Norfolk, I'm sorry.
Name and ed.
Name is Arthur Eason. I reside at 2013 Hollins Court, Chesapeake, Virginia. I'm here this evening representing, and I'm president of the City of Norfolk Retirees Association. What I'm actually here for is to ask y'all to consider a raise for the retirees, and I'd like to thank Councilman Schmiegel and Councilman Riddick. I understand that they proposed something for us already. I don't know how far it got or whatever it went from there, but apparently it wasn't heard completely as maybe it should have been. I can't get but so many retirees here. If we had our whole group here, we'd probably have to have some overnight accommodations. But anyway, we do have some people representing the retirees back here. And I wish that I wish that y'all would reconsider as far as a cost of living for the retirees. A lot of the retirees are the people that, you know, make Norfolk what it is today as far as public works and in the middle of the night, utilities in the middle of the night, any kind of things that go wrong. And a lot of these people are, you know, retired now and have been for, I've only been retired for 10 years. And I worked a part-time job after I retired for that 10 years. I just recently completely retired. But a lot of these people have not worked and have been retired for 20 and some of them 30 years. And if any of y'all, and I invite any of y'all to come to one of our meetings, you'd see some of these people. They're not trying to buy new cars. They're not trying to get new dwellings. They're just trying to get medication, food, and keep the place that they're currently living in and not be a burden on society. So if you would, please reconsider the cost of living for our City of Norfolk retirees. I thank you for hearing me.
Thank you. Tom Luckman, followed by Vicki Love.
My name is Tom Luckman. I reside at 3192 Galahad Drive, Virginia Beach, Virginia. Mayor Frame, Council, City Manager, City Attorney, City Clerk, thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening. First, let me congratulate those who won re-election yesterday. I'm a city retiree and I chair the Norfolk Retiree Association Benefits Committee. I'm here to address the lack of retiree cost of living allowance in the proposed budget. I would like to thank Councilman Riddick and Councilman Spiegel for their comments at last week's budget work session, inquiring why there was no COLA and requesting the city manager to look into this omission. In deference to our president, a COLA is not a raise. It's nothing more than a data-driven amount needed to keep retirees from suffering a loss to their original retiree benefit. It is based on the long-standing, true and tested figure compiled by the Federal Department of Labor, tracking what the increase has been for consumers and the purchase of their breadbasket items. It's used to keep Social Security beneficiaries, railroad pensioners, military retirees, Virginia and other state retirees, NRHA retirees, Virginia school retirees, Virginia constitutional employee retirees, NRHA retirees, and the overwhelming number of Virginia city and county retirees whole with respect to the purchasing power of their retirement benefit. So why not Norfolk? Norfolk received 2% COLA over the last 5 years, while those previously mentioned received 10. The budget document expounds about becoming an employer of choice, but how can that be when employees, once retired, suffer significant annual loss to their pension benefit? Some say we lose employees due to our compensation policies. Councilman Riddick even commented on that at last week's work session. I support that notion, and I wonder why more employees, once they spend 5 years, learn their craft, and are vested in Norfolk's retirement system, don't go to positions in other municipalities to complete their career. It would be economically more beneficial. They can transfer their Norfolk retirement time to the new city. They would not have to worry about losing a substantial retirement benefit year after year after year after year. For years, the city has been solving their management and staffing issues and saving general fund dollars by instituting programs which have significant cost to retirement fund. There are many of these, including this year's drop. Obviously, salary increases and poor fund performance affect returns and the fund. So why blame the COLAs? We note the fund's investment earnings the past year totaled $98.6 million, $24 million more than benefits paid. A good year, one that COLA should have been paid. Calendar 2014 looks even better. The city manager doesn't have to find the money in this year's budget for a COLA.
Thank you, Mr. Luckman.
Thank you.
Thank you. Vicki Love, followed by Mike McKenna.
Good evening. I'm Vicki Love. I reside at 4419 Deacon Lane in Virginia Beach, Virginia. I'm here again requesting a cost of living increase for the retirees. I retired in 1998. Rent then was $619. Now it's $1,045. Gas was $1.15. It's $3.80. A stamp was 32 cents. It's 49. Eggs were 88. They're $1.88. A candy bar was 50 cents. Now it's $1. And my favorite Oreos went from $2.49 to $4.59. It's no secret my retirement, as my speakers before me have said, has not come even close to keeping up with these prices. There's no Neiman Marcus, no Dillard's, no Macy's. It's the Dollar Tree for me. Thank you.
Mike McKenna. Mike McKenna, followed by Gary Dubois. Gary. Hey. It's okay.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members, my name is Michael McKenna. I live at 3124 Douglas Road in Chesapeake, Virginia. I'm a national representative for Service Employees International Union, SEIU. I'm a National Association of Government Employees, NAGE, and the International Brotherhood of Police Officers, IBPO. I represent approximately 2 million members throughout the country, approximately 20,000 in Virginia, and over 5,000 in Hampton Roads. And I'm a retired 35-year veteran of the Norfolk Police Department. I would first like to congratulate the recently elected mayor, the council members, and the new member, Mamie Johnson. I'm here tonight to thank those council members that have given their support for retiree appointment to the retirement board. Having a retiree on the board will bring a new perspective to our current 4,000 plus retirees. I also ask that the council review the budget and try to find a way to give our retirees a pay increase. I have recently begun circulating a petition for better pay and benefits for Norfolk retirees and have accumulated over 700 signatures so far. Just got another 25. But police, fire, and general employees retirees are asking that the council approve the appointment of Arthur Butch Eason, current president of Norfolk Retirees Association, as retiree representative to the retirement board. I believe this is a 9-member board, and there's 3 vacancies. So, and it's not a paid position, so it wouldn't be any cost to the council or the city. Finally, I would also thank the council for taking the first step in reinstating the steps and approving the drop program for public safety officers. This is viewed as a step towards stopping the bleeding of highly trained officers going to other agencies. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you. Gary Dubois, followed by Michael Ragsdale, please.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of City Council. First of all, I would also like to congratulate those who were reelected. It was, I think it was pretty exciting, I think, especially watching the results coming in. My name is Gary Dubois Jr. I live at 1433 Kingston Avenue in the Ocean View section. I not only city resident, I am a library employee, plus I'm also a Hampton Roads Public Transportation Alliance director. So I'm here for 2 reasons. I'm going to try to make it really, really quick. I have a petition, first of all, with signatures for keeping the HRT bus routes 16 and 17. 16, as if you might know, services Colley Avenue, ODU, and Park Place, as well as Ghent and the light rail station. And a lot of my patrons switched over from taking the Colonial Avenue bus to taking the 16 because the Colonial Avenue bus is no longer convenient for them, especially if they're getting out at 5 o'clock or later. So if I may, at the end.
Sure.
And I'm a little bit nervous. I don't mean to be disrespectful if it does sound that way, but
it's okay, Gary.
One of the other issues is that looking over parts of the budget, certain employees are not getting pay raises this year, and that includes me. Unfortunately for me, my father now lives with me. He lost his job about a year ago. He has cancer. Sometimes I have to buy his medication. And I was really, whether it was 2% or not, I was really hoping and counting on getting a pay raise in July. I had seen some things about the hotel at Main and Granby Street, and I'm kind of wondering, if the city can't give its employees a pay raise for all their employees, or they can't keep certain bus routes that people actually might need, how in the world did we get the money for the hotel? It seems to me that we could have had, even if there's a way to maybe reduce the contract or something like that, we could use some of that money to keep those routes, or maybe give 5% raises at least. I do appreciate your time, and who will I hand these to?
Right over here. Tracy, you want to take this?
Okay.
Gary, thank you for coming down. Okay. All right. Michael Ragsdale, followed by Jamie Battle.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, city staff, my name is Michael Ragsdale. My address is 1026 West 45th Street,
1103C right here in Norfolk. I am a student of Old Dominion University. I use HRT Route 16 as my primary way of getting around, and that's one of the routes that this budget currently proposes to get rid of. The 16, if it wasn't for the 16, I would not be able to safely get from my side of Hampton Boulevard to Old Dominion University. The 16 is also my way to get to the city library, and it happens to be Gary's Park Place Library. Without this route, because routes 4, Church Street, and 11, Colonial Avenue, do not run at night, this route provides the primary service for Park Place, as well as students who need to get from main campus of ODU to the village side. And please keep this route in your budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Jamie Battle. Jamie the Battle, followed by Fernanda Minson, please.
Good evening, City Council, and congratulations to Mayor Frame for your successful re-election. I'm Jamie Phillip Battle from 3334 Clover Hill Drive in Portsmouth, Virginia, 23703. I worked in Norfolk and go to school in Norfolk at Old Dominion University. So I'm almost an everyday visitor to your city. I am also part of Hampton Roads Transit Riders Advisory Committee, which I help the committee and the agency give out ideas to the whole agency and to the cities to better improve transit. I was at downtown City Hall in late March when the budget for fiscal year 2015 will involve fully cutting the 16 and 17, as well as part of the 44, and as well as keeping the 485 on schedule. Both routes, especially the 16 must stay. 17, I do like, but I have made proposals and sent to HRT staff and a couple of city council members if the 17 gets cut. I also like to 44 to keep its original routing through downtown York Street Station, EVMC Station, and DNTC, because it will stay on schedule. The bus just goes to Centennial General and off to Portsmouth and Chesapeake Square Simon Property Mall. The bus will be late in rush hour in the morning and afternoons. I will also like for City Council to think about having a bus service back, and I do mean back, to Norfolk International Airport, because there was a trial one in 2012 which no one rode. And I do want to take ORF to New York, Atlanta, so I can go see their malls, their transit system, their theme parks, and whatnot. And that's about it. I forgot to type my report because I would have read it to you, but please consider the HRT budget that's keeping it stagnant this fiscal year or to improve it. Once again, I am a visitor in Norfolk every day. I love the city of Norfolk. I love Hampton Roads so much. This area needs improvement in transportation. It does not take one person. It takes everybody in Hampton Roads to improve public transit and improve the economy of the whole area, even Virginia. So we will become a big metropolitan area. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Minson, Fernanda Minson. Mr. Minson. Okay, James Washington. Mr. Washington is followed by Sean Bergeron.
Good evening, City Council. Good evening, community, everybody here. I'm James Washington Jr. I reside on 216 West 33rd Street, Norfolk, Virginia, 23504. And my concern was the 16 and the 17 itself, because I'm a rider, and I've been here 5 years. I've been riding HRT since the day I ride in Norfolk. And just please keep the 16 and the 17, because them bus routes is very busy between ODU and Colley Avenue. And If y'all cut them off, how do people gonna get back and forth to school or either way, or either to the library? And another thing that Norfolk Public Schools, please do a lot better with the school system here. And where I'm from, Georgia, they got a super excellent school system down there, but I know there's good potentials here in Norfolk. It's very good potentials here in Norfolk. I know it is. And if y'all just raise the bar a little bit more. And our kids won't fail. Our kids won't be in the streets and get doing crime and stuff. They'll have something to do with their lives. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks, Mr. Bergeron. Sean Bergeron, followed by Brian Rowe. Good evening.
Good evening. Sean Bergeron, 500 Botetourt Street, apartment 202, Norfolk. I live not far from the York Street Freemason Tide Stop. I came because I had some concerns about the elimination of the 16 and the 17 routes, both of which I do use from time to time. My wife, who is a current ODU student, could also use the 16 bus if I could ever convince her to get on the bus. But the proposals to replace those don't seem terribly effective or concrete to me. And I know that they're still considering alternatives to just the elimination of those two routes, but that hasn't been well communicated at all. I wouldn't have known about this had I not seen something on it when I was on the 28 bus coming back from Virginia Beach one time. But for those of us who cannot drive anymore, having those routes is very important. HRT had a meeting a few weeks ago, and the Ghent Business Association was very convincing in their arguments about why the 16 needs to remain the 17. An argument can be made, but it's difficult to get around downtown without that. So that's all I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Brian Rowe. Brian Rowe. Beecher Henderson, followed by Ben Pallett.
Good evening, Mayor Frame, councilman, city manager. My name is Beecher Henderson. I live at 529 West 37th Street here in Norfolk. I am here to speak out in opposition of the proposed elimination of the number 16 bus route. I do find it strangely convenient that you're having this budget meeting the day after the local elections rather than before, so we could see which way and what you thought of the citizens who are affected by this. Route 16 is my fallback bus ride. When I say fallback, after 5 o'clock. Number 11 stops at leaves out of the downtown transfer center at 5:40. That's the last route, the last run. 16 puts me in a manageable area for me to walk. I'm a survivor of 2 strokes, a couple of pulmonary embolisms, bouts in the hospital. So my ability to walk and my stamina is compromised. It's not just myself. There are a number of elderly people in the Park Place area who are faithful bus riders, as I am. And after 5, we are going to be left with the choice of either not going out and being out after 5 o'clock, rushing to get home before the last bus, or finding alternate transportation. And I think this is something that we should not have to be faced with. It is difficult for me to understand how you can inaugurate a fare increase for the buses and then turn around and eliminate services? How do you do that? You increase the fare and then you cut the service. It doesn't make sense to me. Now, we have listened to your representatives at our community meetings, and listening to them, we get the feeling that you look at us as dollar signs and the bottom line in your budget, not as human beings, not as citizens, not as people who vote and care. We do. There grew a few years ago, and I'm getting ready to be finished. There was a movement that began in this nation. It was called Yes We Can. And just so you know, when you ignore the general population, we still can.
Ben Pallett, followed by Jonathan Nye.
Good evening, Mayor Frame, Manager Jones, and honorable members of the council. Not a very good public speaker, but here goes. My name is Ben Pallett, and I live at 230 East McGinnis Circle in Norfolk. I'm a member of the Norfolk Professional Firefighters Union Local 68 and a 13-year member of the Norfolk Fire Rescue Department. Further, I'm a former Norfolk Public School student and one day a Norfolk City employee retiree. I would like to thank you, Mr. Jones, and your staff for your assistance and hard work with the DROP program for public safety employees. We realize that the budget process this year has had many tough decisions. We started working on the DROP about 15 years ago, and together we have come up with a plan that helps the employees and the city. Many hours of work, as you know, went into this program and eases the transition into retirement for the employee and also for the city to plan for the vacancies that are created when employees leave the city. We appreciate you giving your consideration to the STEP program and pay compression and that's been created by the public safety. Your willingness to look into the future and start having tough conversations about pay and benefits is appreciated. We realize we may never come to an agreement about pay compression, benefits, or the STEP program, but we appreciate you coming to the table to listen and discuss possible solutions with us. We realize this was not created overnight, nor will it be fixed overnight. To look at the pay system over the next several years to come up with a fair and equitable wage for public safety employees is all that we're asking. We look forward to continue to work together with you to attract, retain, motivate, and develop a workforce that is second to none in delivering service to the citizens of Norfolk. Council, we look forward to working with you as well, ensuring Norfolk has and maintains a well-managed government, looking at our wages and compensation over the next several years, and looking for fair solutions that both the city and its employees can live with. The public safety employees of the city of Norfolk did not take these jobs to get rich, but for those men and women to be required to work 2 or 3 jobs to support their families is not fair either. Members of the council, we are asking you to support Mr. Jones's proposed budget, which includes the DROP program and our step raises for 2015. Again, Mr. Jones and council, thank you for your hard work on the DROP. We appreciate you allowing us to be part of the discussions. And also thank you, teachers. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Jonathan Nye, followed by Ricky Ross.
Thank you. I'm Jonathan Paul Nye, and I reside in a small but resilient vessel, often found at 111 Granby Street, Norfolk, Virginia. And I'm speaking for the people. So thanks be to God and for everyone here today for your service. We are now taking a new heading. Are you ready to adjust course? More than your suits and your ties, but the very way that we think and that we do. even how we move from place to place. Although we have yet to arrive, our voyage together is bound for a bright future. But before we can get there, we must maintain our existing infrastructure before digging in to new projects. Therefore, as stated in the city's budget proposal, which was eloquently put together, in order to foster a sustainable and resilient community that's well managed, inclusive, safe, and healthy, it's necessary that we attract and retain innovators, entrepreneurs, and empowered citizens to continue the good fight. So what is the city's dedicated funding amount towards alternative and multimodal transit infrastructure, including bicyclists and pedestrians? For instance, the Granby Street north-south connector at I-564. How do we get from A to B without being run over by a vehicle? Are we awake? Are we ready? Are we prepared to answer these questions? Lastly, in order to be a developed, connected, equipped, mobilized, and yes, educated, accountable, and most important, authentic, civic, engaged community from all fronts, I say gangway, open the hatches, and be prepared as we adjust this course. And lastly, I'll leave us with a small excerpt from a book. It's entitled Healing the Heart of Democracy, out of the chapter on classrooms and congregations. Practices that give young people a voice in their own learning, that support their broad development, including social, personal, and intellectual growth, and that connect them in their local community and the surrounding environment, must find renewed life in and beyond the classroom. Students, advisors, mentoring, apprenticeships, restorative justice, self-managed learning, and shared governance practices can make tangible differences in a student's sense of belonging, autonomy, and mattering. Thank you.
Thank you. Ricky Ross. Mr. Ross.
Good evening, Council, Mayor Frame, City Manager Jones, and other distinguished members. And I'd like to, again, as everyone before me, congratulate you on being reelected, and those who are new to the Council. I'm Ricky Ross. I reside at 6830 Orangewood Avenue. I'm a native and product of the Norfolk Public Schools and retired career and technical education teacher of Norfolk Public Schools. I'm a civic leader, and I'm a concerned citizen. It's been 1 year and 6 days since the last year's public hearing on our city budget. A lot has changed. However, I still give the City Council high marks in its attempt to fully fund public education in Norfolk. And after reviewing how the funding formula works and understanding the disproportionate burden on our 44 square miles, where much of our land is not taxed due to being used for federal or state property, and with our General Assembly funding even less and thereby requiring our city to even do more with less, our fiscal capacity is steadily decreasing. And City Manager Jones, I'd like to compliment you and your staff for the daunting task that you all have performed in keeping us not only with a balanced budget, but from bankruptcy itself, as other cities in the United States have hit. 2 years ago, when I first was elected president of the Norfolk Federation of Civic Leagues, my motto was momentum in one voice. Some of that momentum in one voice manifests itself in the form of 100 civic league and community members from across our city coming together on a very cold and very windy February 11th evening to address a common concern: senior property tax relief. I'm also reminded of another event this calendar year, which was the budget community conversation held on March 19th, which gave many of us in attendance a bird's eye view of some of the very budget items that many people are discussing tonight and that were considered in putting together our city budget. I'm sorry to report that despite some of my best efforts in promoting this particular meeting, the attendance was very poor, in my opinion. So here we are again, National Teachers Appreciation Week, coming together with everyone wanting a bigger piece of the pie, but not wanting to surrender anything in return. I only ask that we do our very best to at least maintain our current funding levels until better revenue streams can be created. I realize that it may not be a popular opinion, but if those who were absent from the budget community conversation were only there to see the budget items themselves, we were given everything that you can imagine, but the last thing that came on that budget item was the $14 million in additional funding that Norfolk Public Schools was asking. And at that point, we all looked at one another and wondered where we're going to get the money. I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Roy Martin. Mr. Martin, followed by Thomas Jones.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, Mr. Jones. My name is Roy Martin. I live at 205 Sir Oliver Road. I'm here on behalf of the Norfolk Public Libraries. I'd really like to thank you for all the support you've given the libraries over the past fiscal year. I'd like to share with you that you've been rewarded. We have 850,000 pedestrians that have gone through the libraries as of fiscal year 2014 as of March. And we would like to specifically address the continued funding and upkeep of the branch libraries in particular, leading to 4 particular things. One is landscaping. The landscaping is there to beautify and provide safe passage for pedestrians and patrons of the library. In addition, we look for the safety of the children that go from the neighboring schools and use the libraries for computers, also for the books and the parents that need to go over and look for job applications and fulfill the technology needs that they have. We also look to you to address the wear and tear of all these pedestrians using these libraries. I also request that you look at the study that you just heard tonight by the ADA request for changes in the libraries to make them compliant for handicapped folks. As you had heard today, a number of those are in public libraries. And also to address the kid zones. These are immensely popular, well used, and we like to make sure they maintain and upkeep their technological advancement and enhance literacy amongst our Norfolk children. And also parking, making sure that there is adequate amount of parking in each of the branches so that people feel safe, not only going through that landscape, using the bathroom and having their kids in there for the various needs they have, but feel welcome to the library and find it accessible, not only here in the outlying areas of the city, but also as we move further into the downtown area, as Slover is also put online in the upcoming year. I thank you again for the continued support you've given the libraries, and I know that you'll also consider these 4 areas of focus for the branches in the upcoming future. Thank you.
Thank you, Roy. Thomas Jones, followed by Ann Blanchard.
Good evening. My name is Tom Jones. I live at 1603 Boyce Drive in Norfolk. I am president of the Library Foundation. But Mr. Mayor, members of council, Mr. Jones, I'd like to thank you for the wonderful, yet not fully appreciated job that you've done these past years guiding this city through a very turbulent economy that we face. While we are not totally out of that storm, I think that we should congratulate you for the excellent stewardship that you've done so far, and I'm sure that we'll be in smoother water soon. On behalf of the Norfolk Public Library Foundation, I would like to thank you for your support of our library system. It has been highly treasured. With your help, we are able to provide community place to go for information, education, and entertainment. Over the past several years, Norfolk Public Libraries have become centers for technology, literacy, and civic engagement. We are staying relevant in today's society, providing everyone with the opportunity to access the information they need, spanning that ever-present digital divide. For year 2014, as of March, Norfolk Public Library's computers were used more than 360,000 times, and patrons logged close to 300,000 hours of usage on these computers. A top priority for the Norfolk Public Library is offering a variety of high-tech choices for reading pleasure of everyone. We accomplish this through the e-books, audiobooks, digital magazines, and tumble books. Currently, there are over 2,700 books on the e-books available, with 850 audio e-books and digital magazines. More than 2,000 people have checked out e-books and audiobooks in less than a year's time it's been available. With continued support, we hope to expand our offerings not only in digital collection, but also our regular print book collection as well. Lest you think we all are going digital, I, for one, still like to hold the book in my hand and go through the pages. But according to a recent Pew Research study, more than 2/3, that's 69% of Americans reported reading a book, print in 2013. Finally, I would like to thank you for your continued support, congratulate you on a job well done, acknowledge our city manager, who I understand is receiving the Julian Hurst Award for Distinguished Service. Thank you all.
Thank you. Ann Blanchard.
Hi, I'm Ann Blanchard. I live at 508 Colonial Avenue in Norfolk. I am here to speak on behalf of the library. I am a member of the Friends of the Norfolk Public Library. That's really an easy task. Our libraries, they don't really need me or anyone to speak for them. They speak for themselves. I stopped by my local library the other day and picked this up to refresh my brain. I was blown away by the variety and the volume of programs that are held for these kids. Primarily the early education programs, the literacy programs. And when you think about these kids, if you stop in any of our 11 local libraries, you see children everywhere for story time. They're on the computers. They're everywhere. They're teens playing their their computer games. They're the little ones with the Lego blocks. They have chess games, chess lessons. I bet you didn't know that July is ice cream month. You can go to several of our Norfolk libraries and get a free ice cream cone. Now, of course, this is all PR to get the little kids on track so they'll like to turn pages like us old folks do. But thank you for everything you do. And I'll tell you, keeping our libraries open on Mondays, that is marvelous. Many of the kids at the Norfolk schools get off the school bus and go to the library. Rather than go home, maybe, to an empty house, parents are working, or play on the street. We know the dangers there. Thank you for that, and thank you for everything you do for the Norfolk libraries.
Thank you, Ann. Okay. We've been at it for almost 2 hours. We're going to take a very short break. We have had, I think, 38 speakers, and we've got about 15 left, so we're going to take a break and then come back and finish. And John Green is up next, Mr. Green, if you want to hang out close by. Thank you.